The reaction to us not doing that well the first few weeks were definitely quite crazy, and we had very advantageous positions, and we had 2 games where we just threw at Adacamp, and it's just such a small thing that lost us the game, you know? It's like we just improved that, and now we do better, and it was a good lessons for sure from the first week.
We lost against them, but we have a lot of more time to prepare harder, and I think we're gonna beat them next time.
I don't feel any pressure most of the time. I'm just really confident and I'm playing my game.
I think we're playing way worse, less confidence. After game against BDS, I didn't feel like we were the best team. We need to get our shit together and fix this SAP so it doesn't happen again.
It's a good wake-up call, I guess, that we are actually very bad. We need to actually step it up if we want to win.
For us to be considered in the top 4, I would say we need to be more consistent.
We have some really good games and some games in which we struggle a bit.
The lower bracket buff is real. You get so much momentum if you win from the lower bracket. You get so much experience, so much just confidence.
KOI eliminating GX, moving on to face Fnatic. Almost a 15,000 gold lead.
I think we're gonna be at the top.
With this fearless mode, I feel like they will bring a lot of weird picks.
Myrwn played the Vex top lane. That was interesting.
Supa ease over immediately. They're just going to turn their sights onto the backline. Investor doesn't even have an item yet. GX sent back to the drawing board. Happy that the Vex at least will not show her face again.
Fnatic are all inning. I'm watching Nuke trying to zone control as Investor comes in, takes down the Rabadon's Azir. But Upset is now doing the job for them, and Fnatic managed to defend.
One of Fnatic's biggest strengths is Razork. I'm really confident playing into him, so I think we are a pretty good match into them.
Still, but it's still into a Kai'Sa. Red goes Yone! He steals the Baron!
If Elyoya and Alvaro can't like take over the game by themselves, I think they can't really win against us.
Myrwn finally gonna find the angle. No one just one-shots him. That's so much damage. Elyoya untouched on the backline, and he's the real threat. A complete ace in favor of KOI.
I don't think it's too hard to draft against them and also play against them. They're not too versatile as a team, but they're strong individual players.
Yeah, Targamas finds him again with the Hex Flash, and Caps is down. Kai'Sa now with a flash and a barrier. Caps still looking for more. They're not climbing that blue wall as G2 go to the finals.
And maybe KOI improves more and Fnatic improves less. Then it's gonna be more even. Maybe KOI can win, but overall I still think Fnatic's gonna play better.
I did have a feeling that if we win this one, when we're like so boosted, we can probably win the next games as well that we play next week.
So just get ready. Might be Vex, might be Nidalee. Just get ready what you're going to face. You will for sure lose.
So I let it burn.
The road for our first title in the new year in what is 2025 will continue now into our top 4. Now with Fnatic versus Movistar KOI. I'm steady with Deddy alongside Vedi, and we'll be your tricast moving into what we hope is another good fearless best of 5.
Who was I in the middle of that? I got very confused.
Deddy, okay.
Is that a French?
It's more like you're a Marbley figure.
Well, that was a weird intro, but it doesn't matter because we're here for some awesome League of Legends. It's a weekend of best of 5s and the fans are out in force. The arena is packed and this will be both teams' first best of 5 here in winter. Reminder, we are in Fearless, which means that the champions that are picked in Game 1 will not be allowed to be picked in the remaining games. And for us Europeans, like, we've been having a blast with what we got to see last week between G2 and Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and I think for both these teams, they have a lot to prove if they want to make it to another week now, because for Movistar KOI, this is a team that has kind of been looking to ramp up with the addition of Jojopyun in towards that mid lane, now wanting to show that they can beat Fnatic, who were the strongest all of the regular season, and move on towards our games tomorrow. Or is it going to be Fnatic who, after a few whoopsies last week, can now kind of straighten the ship?
A few whoopsies for a team that finished first needs to be talked about. It was studied on the desk, and again in my mind against BDS, who almost won Game 1, who won Game 2, and even in Game 3 also had a gold lead. Fnatic have a lot to prove, because remember Movistar KOI, they came through, got bodied by Kai'Sa, as Humanoid said in the interview, and then against GX, well, it felt like GX broke apart a bit. So I think statements cannot be undefined for both these teams to actually show they deserve to be in the top 3.
Well, this is where you get your opportunity to try and prove that. I think for both of these sides, jungle is going to be a heavy focus for me. Elyoya had a fantastic set of games last weekend, and now he wants to try and continue that. And for Razork, he's kind of been a lot of that. We always describe it as the engine in the early game of Fnatic, but It wasn't as strong last week, with BDS being able to shut him down and find a lot of nice counter ganks off of 1-3. So definitely showing that there is a way to beat back Fnatic.
Here we go.
Already we're straight into the draft, and bans have come through thick and fast. The Zyra, Ambessa, and Azir taken away from Fnatic means that the Vi lock-in is going to be very predictable on the side of Fnatic. KOI should have expected this with the Kai'Sa, Skarner, and Poppy taken away. Let's see what their priority ends up being.
Yeah, I imagine they'll try and go back towards the Ezreal, which has been very strong, but I think it's nearly playing into the hands of Fnatic here, where they want to try and go for that Vi Kai'Sa combo that they've been able to use very, very effectively. So we'll have to see exactly what they want to try and bring out. But immediate K'Sante, are they just going to go for jungle here, or do they want to just go for the Ezreal?
Simmer down, guys. It's all right. The K'Sante's already locked in. Maokai is a jungler in EU. If you're watching LPL and other regions, it is a top laner, so no flexibility here for KOI, already getting their two front lines locked in.
Cheeky hover on the middle, of course, one of Razork's personal favorites, but we're very much expecting it not to come through here unless we get the fabled Vi top lane. Right now it does seem that Ezreal can be locked in for Upset, which so far in playoffs we haven't seen Upset bring out, but we know he's a big enthusiast of it during the regular season and pretty much throughout his career.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what MKOI want to answer with to the Ezreal, because my thought was you take the Ezreal and then you're kind of happy enough to say, hey, look, we've at least got the strong bot lane. Sure, the Kai'Sa can come through, but we'd be all right. But now you're kind of taking that Ezreal away. You don't want to go for the Kai'Sa is your answer. So does Supa go back towards something like a Corki or something along those lines, the bot lane? Well, we're not even going to find out here.
Okay, Yone is a pairing as well. But Jojo, he's had a lot of criticism, but I feel like, you know, his two best champions at the moment seem to be the Azir and the Yone, which already in playoffs has had 2 successful games.
I mean, last week I think was one of his better performances. He had a lot of support from both his jungle and support, which I think just better set him up for success. He also said in the interview prior to this series that he was feeling a lot more confident and a lot more comfortable here in EU. We'll see if he can pull that off against Humanoid today. Smolder going to be the answer. I wonder if they'll look to, well, I say Corki, but we often remember that Yone was used as an effective answer to the Corki, which does make me wonder what in Humanoid's pool could he potentially bring out. Remember that things like the Mel are available, potentially Ahri, if they want to go for a little bit more pick to synergize with the Vi.
Yeah, well, there's the Ahri gone. I was going to say the Smolder pick says to me they're still not 100% certain Oscarinin won't answer with a Rumble here into the K'Sante in the early stages, and then you can place that AD mid laner in the Smolder, but I think you've still got options here, and now it's a case of like, how do MKOI want to try and alleviate some of those? You've already taken away the Premier AD carry. I think they're going to say, hey, we're going to take the Corki for Supa, deny that other AD carry in the mid lane, and then you have to try and answer with some sort of mage that the Only's a bit more comfortable into.
It's an interesting thought process, isn't it? Because on the other side, as we get rid of double support, I mean, that's still an option available. But I think as well, while we start considering AD carries here, KOI, we've already shown, building up this nice front to back. A lot of big beefcakes in the way as well. Sets up for something big, like that hyper carry, like the Corki. Twitch is holding for a second. You guys mentioned the Kai'Sa earlier. That also follows up the dive that's being built.
Yeah, I am a little surprised though, because I thought they'd try and go for something a little bit else, because I think the Braum is going to be the next pick. Kai'Sa generally wants a support that can kind of go in.
Yeah.
So it says to me they may look for something like the Nautilus or maybe an Alistar, as an answer to the Rell here. But I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's a huge amount of dive on Movistar KOI, and now it's on Fnatic to try and alleviate that pressure.
I mean, Aurora, I think we've been seeing it a lot in the meta, but I do think that Corki makes a little bit more sense. Remember that Yone was used as an answer into the Corki traditionally when Corki was so very much meta, but double AD carries, it's very safe, very solid in terms of scaling. I do think that in terms of synergy overall, I feel like KOI's composition is setting themselves up for the Alistar, as you said, and just as we highlighted, it's looking to be the lock-in. So in terms of front to back, KOI have very solid options. They have pretty good dive. In terms of their ability to get control around objectives, they have a lot of tools. You're kind of forced to walk away from the Maokai. It's very easy for the K'Sante to generate a lot of space around these neutral objectives as well. And when I think about Fnatic's ability to retake on these objectives, like you can see that Vi and Rell very good at forcing those engages. So they'll have tools. The question is, how reliable will that follow-up be with this double AD carry composition?
Yeah, I think that's, you can't, like, the retake is the biggest one for me, because it's like, sure, Vi can kind of face check into a Maokai ult, but she doesn't really want to. Same with Rell. So I think you're quite vulnerable as Fnatic if you're not on the objective first, or even if MKOI start to get a slight lead and can have the tempo in their favor. I think they have a really strong composition to try and execute through it. So I think Fnatic need to get the ball rolling early if they hope to secure the win.
I see in Fnatic's comp something you talked about earlier, and I think something that's been talked about throughout the year for Analyst in League of Legends, which is these easier to execute compositions, these easier R buttons at the moment, when we have so many objectives in the game, when we're just fighting around the 6 scrubs, the early Herald usually wins it out. And in this, you look at the go buttons that are on KOI's comp. There's a lot of good go buttons here as the crowd fills out and gets you ready for the game. Remember, we're still in elimination territory. Remember, we have G2 waiting at the very end of the road. We have KC waiting for the winner of this for tomorrow. And then finals coming up on Sunday. Our final week of the LEC Winter. It begins now with Movistar KOI and Fnatic in a best of 5 to fight into the top 3.
Thinking a little bit more about these compositions, I think one of the things that KOI might struggle with is just the raw amount of wave clear that they have access to. When we think about how easy it is for Humanoid to clear those waves once he's got a couple items under his belt, the Trinity Force completed, he can just hit him with the rocket, hit him with the Q, and wipe out that mid wave very easily, which means that Fnatic should have easy access, especially through their top side, to gain control over the river. So in terms of getting onto those objectives first, I think they have strong tools. It's just when we talk about those retake, I think it's so easy for KOI to just re-aggress once the space has been lost, because they have the Maokai ultimate, because they have follow-up with the Alistar engaged, they have follow-up with Kai'Sa in the amount of space that he can produce, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things pan out in the mid to late game.
Yeah, I think you kind of are hoping on Fnatic that Oscarinin and Razork are just strong enough in that duo combo of both ultimates to kill Supa. Because if that's the case, cool, you can trade Razork for Supa in the fight, and then you can look to turn around after with only the real damage dealer being Jojopyun. But if you're in a position where that is never really the case and Supa gets to play out the team fight well and can play a strong front to back, I think it's in MKOI's favor.
Early roll damage, nothing to stop that. Elyoya is going to be annoyed by this. He uses his passive. Aftershock gets him to half HP. Mikyx just in the way, though. This is going to stay in place as...
He stole the...
Yeah, he stole the small one, didn't he? So Bramble Smash goes down, and Elyoya a little bit slowed down, which means he doesn't get level 2 for it. No, he does, excuse me. So 1 steal in the end. Did he steal a Betty or not?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah.
So we managed to get 2 of them there, so pretty happy about that in the grand scheme of things. So now in a position where Elyoya going to move back up, but should be, looks like, yeah, he's just going to try and play towards his strong top side from this position to make sure that he's able to follow up on the play, but happy enough as Fnatic to just opt in towards the lane swap.
Now, while this cross map's going on, ladies and gentlemen at home, just look to the side of your screen. How broken is the inspiration tree right now? Hello? Hello? Oh my god. 9 out of 10 players with inspiration, like... Yeah.
One could say it's inspiring, perhaps.
Yeah, good one. It definitely is.
Now, KOI have gained good control over the top side of the map. Cross-mapping in terms of clearing out these jungle camps has forced Mikyx back away. Oscar going to be escorted towards that top lane, reducing the risk of him potentially getting dived. There's only 3 members on this top side, and I'm not convinced that they quite have enough damage, but ultimately, the farm has been lost, the experience has been lost, and so Oscar only level 2 right now, but KOI ultimately getting what they want.
And that's the thing, because Mikyx ended up spending so much time trying to interrupt Elyoya, Myrwn actually got his chance to be in experience range. He's got a little bit of an experience advantage. Plus, you also had the experience share in the mid lane as well. So Humanoid, although he has a little bit now, he's going to push in that wave. So Jojopyun will eventually take over, as you can see there on the experience lead. So I think it's actually put Fnatic behind a little bit on how they've executed this, but good damage.
Yeah, this is just a counter engage though from Mikyx. He gets pumped up a little bit as Lethal Tempo catches him on the escape. So KOI's still happy in the 2v2. The one good thing that we can keep raving about, though, is we come back to mid every single time. I mean, Jojo, despite that being a pretty good trade, is in constant trouble. Corki, the new lane bully, is constant in his pressure on Jojo right now as a melee carry.
Fleet footwork going to do him some favors along with Door and shields to help him stay relatively healthy, but the damage is being done to his CS, kind of what we would expect in the early laning phase. The strength of Yone is that he will eventually outscale in the side lanes, and it'll be very difficult for Corki to be able to approach those waves unless he has support from his team.
I do think, though, that the lane swap has kind of hit MKOI where it hurts with the way they've been playing the game recently, which is kind of protect Jojo. We've seen a huge amount of moves from Alvaro and Elyoya to try and play around this mid wave to ensure that Jojo gets good backs, doesn't fall behind on CS, and now in a not-so-good matchup, I think Humanoid will have a field day here just trying to punish Jojopyun for out, and there was definitely some choice words between these two mid laners. So.
Yes, there was. Shox brought it up in the interview as well. Just average. I like it. We need a bit more trash talk in the league, I feel. if you didn't catch the other side of it as well, Jojo did respond. Very renowned for his trash talk in NA. But you know what the funny thing I find about these two mid laners? I don't think they've been all that good in the regular season. I'm just going to say it. I mean, I really don't think it's been Humanoid Split. And I think Jojo's had a lackluster entrance and has been the weak link on KOI.
I mean, I definitely think that relative to playoffs, Humanoid had a stronger performance.
Exactly.
I think that Jojo has ramped up a little bit more. But I think it's fair to criticize both mid laners. There's a lot on the line, and that's kind of where I love the added value of the trash talk. And I love the interview that Shox did prior to this series, just because it just adds more stakes to the very intense matchup. A winner will move on to face KC tomorrow. The loser will be eliminated from Winter. Remember, there's only one spot at First Stand, our new international tournament. But both organizations are eager to represent Europe on the international stage.
The amount of talent that's going as well, it's so exclusive. MSI, the pool was always as Alvaro. It's going to be a little bit of a nuisance here. Ignites, so that Oscarinin a little bit off kilter here. Mickey's going to try and get the stun up and get something down and get this push out.
That is actually huge though, because Oscarinin wanted to reset and then maybe look for the move up towards Void Grubs and trying to keep him safe. But you look at the level leads, right? He's actually, as you can see on your screen, Oscarinin barely ticking over to level 5, whereas you're about to hit level 6 for Myrwn. So I don't really think Fnatic were in a position to really cover for this. So it looks like instead we'll just reset a little bit late after pushing the wave, and now it should be MKOI who are able to move over towards those first Void Grubs.
Dragon taking the response, so for Fnatic, a little bit of speed here as Razork thinks about the setup. He's not level 6 for his ulti, but then again versus K'Sante. And what much are they going to do with Upset still in an isolated lane? 300, 400 gold up on this Ezreal as he continues to lane alone.
Yeah, right now, Fnatic have a small gold lead, but for the most part, it's inconsequential. The biggest thing is where the experience differences are. You'll notice that Upset is a full level over Supa, and Myrwn a full level over Oscar because of how these lane assignments have gone. The fact that Upset has been going up against Myrwn in a very safe lane, keeping that wave pushed in, has given him access to those bot lane plates. Now, you may even see, I mean, Humanoid's quite low, but here comes Razork.
It's the all-in, but the pop away from Alvaro is clean. The Matador gets him out, and Jojo's saved.
Yeah, you do have to be a little careful here as Oscarinin, though. You can see Mickey and Razork are basically trying to sync up with the top side because they know MKOI control this top side of the jungle, having had numbers advantage on this top end, but looks like they're able to shift into position to cover Oscarinin. He's going to reset, and now they're going to move Upset. So again, they're going to go back towards the Australian lanes for yourself, Jake, but you're still giving Myrwn a lot.
Humanoid has the flash. I mean, he doesn't have any mana. So I'm not sure if the Valkyrie only just came up at 100 as Mickey gets the engage. It's rather a disengage. Alvaro pulls us in what an engage could look like, and it's just a bop on the head while Fnatic are getting zoned down a river.
Love the threat of the dive there from KOI, utilizing the Maokai ultimate to set up Jojo. Notice that he used his E, had the 3 stacks on his Q, ready to follow up with the ulti there. That would have been a kill onto Humanoid, so he respect flashes it and get out of the way. They burn that flash away from the Corki, which means there's potential play there moving forward.
But it also then drew Upset away from that top wave in towards that jungle, and they've gone for that weird reset with Oscarinin as well. So both side lane waves were missed on that. So I think there's been a good amount of opportunities where Fnatic haven't been on the wave when they're supposed to. Now, they still have that slight gold lead thanks to Upset, but they definitely need to keep their eyes on the waves on the map.
Now, my news presenter, aka Museus, has just told me that there's a bit of all chat going on right now. Jojo just called Humanoid a choker, and he said, good laning. Humanoid said, nice base. Lol. Good. It begins. It's only game 1.
It's literally just starting. No one's even died yet, and already they're trying to get in each other's heads. We'll keep you guys updated on the banter that happens between the two players. But yeah, I mean, the trash talk on and off the rift just adds fuel to the fire. Next Dragon going to be spawning in about 2.5 minutes. Grubs in about 2. First items are well on the way. The Zerka's Greaves gives Jojo a lot more trading power in the 1 versus 1. He's going to look to leverage that.
Jojo good dodge away from the Foster Bomb as well. The majority of Humanoid's damage that comes from that Q is he backs away. Fnatic still aggressive on bot, thinking about what they can do here. Mickey doesn't have a Magnet Storm, but he does have a Lance. He misses with it, and Upset just has to deal with it while he pushes him for the turret plating.
Yeah, just trying to see if they can punish Myrwn, but again, Myrwn's the guy with the most experience on Movistar KOI, so he's going to be perfectly fine. And Mickey now, you can kind of see Oscarinin has been left to the wolves a little bit here because he's now into the range matchup as well, which is going to be great for him. As Alvaro looking for Razork, but yeah, Mickey's kind of been all over the place trying to protect his different lanes in what has been the extended lane swap.
Ignite down though, there's no ulti for Alvaro, and I think that cow has just become mince for first blood.
I was just about to say how Fnatic set their sights on this blue buff. They had heavy investment of resources towards the bot side of the map, and Razork, after stealing away the Gromp was fishing. The reality is that I think Alvaro thought that he was safer than he actually was.
Yeah.
Humanoid was able to move over, but crucially, Upset's ultimate does so much damage this early on in the game. Alvaro wasn't expecting it. He doesn't even get an opportunity to flash away. And it's an easy first blood for Fnatic.
But it might not end there. Upset into Fog of War, we question. He's got an Arcane Shift over the wall. Myrwn was just trying to be a pain. Might still be, as Upset gives him a bit more respect.
Yeah, I think they're trying to reset Upset so then he can move up towards that top side for the Void Group respawn, but the fact he's been interrupted, I think Fnatic might have to give this up. They can see they're sending Oscarinin back up towards that top side, so it may just be another Void Group trade for that position on the Dragon, and basically both sides trying to continue around their strong point on the map, which is Upset on Fnatic side, and at the moment kind of Supa as well, to be perfectly honest, just because the push he's been able to pick up and now having that Kraken Slayer completed.
Upset. Reset gonna come through, making his way out to mid lane. Humanoid with the TP, gonna go and catch that bot wave. The Grubs becomes the next point of contention. You can see Rumble getting the push out. Likely gonna tick over to level 8. Would be a valuable level to grab. And there it is. Question is, does he have enough gold to complete that first item ahead of this fight? If he does, that would be huge. Looks like not quite just yet.
Just notice Upset ult here. The cooldown is now there, but again, every Q is going to pull it down a little bit. But Upset is level 9, and Fnatic, because of him, seems like they're going to get first moves with Grubs.
Yeah, they're just trying to hard push him mid, but you've always got to be careful about Elyoya's ults. They don't really have control of top side either. Razork's isolated.
Quick smite, maybe just to stop the all three, but a flash, twisted advance. Elyoya finds Razork in his track. Nature's Grasp is down. Jojo's here. Needs to lay down more damage than that, but the ulti has to turn into a flash. Razork flashes in response. Q's out and he's out. Jojo's committed hard for this, and meanwhile Supa's getting busted in the pit. He flashes over the wall. The equalizer goes to where? Alvaro flashes there, and meanwhile Upset beware. Fnatic are running down Koi. It's Myrwn who's taking up to deal with him, but Oscar is putting the flame up. Who wants pork belly for dinner? I think it's Fnatic. They've already cooked one. They'll cook another person alive. And 4 kills in the blink of an eye.
It's a messy fight, but somehow Fnatic managed to come out on top. Razork will fall alongside Humanoid, but they denied the Grub access, and they come out with the kills.
What a chaotic fight. So it starts off with Elyoya flashing in. Now bear in mind, his bot lane is separated as they get engaged in the other bot line. He's trusting Jojo entirely. Jojo holds onto the ulti, commits it onto the Rumble to try and catch Razork out. Razork then flashes away and creates enough space away. Meanwhile in the Grub pit, Supa's able to flash over the wall, but crucially in that tri-brush there's no vision. So Oscar just has to guess which way they're going. They both path up towards the top side of the map. They're both able to escape, but the bot lane is removed from the fight, creating a numbers advantage for Fnatic.
Yeah, now they just got to chase down Oscarinin, flashing forward to get the kill, but Myrwn able to respond as he pushes in on towards the kill on towards Razork, but he will fall in the end. It's bedlam in the fight, but I think if you're Fnatic, you're pretty happy with the way that one turned out, because Razork was isolated, and Jojo trying to predict Razork's Q over the wall meant that they didn't pick him off at the start of the fight.
I think Jojo just overcomplicated it.
Yeah.
You know? I think that he had the ultimate that could have forced the flash out. The Q3 was just about to come off as well. And perhaps you're trying to predict a potential flash by using the ultimate and then the Vi going over the wall. It made things awkward. Ultimately, though, ends up being a 2 versus 3, and as you rightly said, Grub's still on the board, but Fnatic crucially securing their second dragon of the game.
And let's look who comes out of that individually as well, because Upset after the end of that fight now picks up a couple of kills when he already had an experienced lead that you gentlemen were talking about at the start of the game. Sorry, you lads. We're not gentlemen today. We're in the mud again. Upset still holds on to that, and again with the Trinity Force doing a lot of damage. 1,200 is the lead individually too. While you look at Myrwn. Myrwn once again, great team fighter and another good K'Sante in the LEC. Who knew?
Yeah, but the problem is your K'Sante's not going to carry this, right? And I think this is where the kills on towards Upset means he's able to hit his double item breakpoint way quicker than you'd usually expect him to. Plus, you're going to have Humanoid, who's kind of a benefactor off the back of it. And Oscarinin never really has to go against Myrwn. He just clears the waves. And then in a team fight, just wants to ult whatever target Razork picks out. So in the grand scheme of things, he can still do his job. So it's on MKOI now to try and disrupt how Fnatic are entering into these objectives.
Myrwn's trying to set this up and all out into the Nature's Grasp in the first time on Maokai. You're not disappointed with Elyoya's position. Myrwn with the shutdown. And you said, you know, he's not going to be the carrier, but he's going to have a lot of bloody gold.
I just don't know why Oscarinin went that direction. He could have just walked around and would have been in an okay spot and wouldn't have even lost the wave. But instead ends up giving his life. It'll be Razork who at least picks up the back half of the wave. But given that kind of just easy kill over to MKOI.
Looks like this game is going to very much revolve around Myrwn's impact and target focus. You got to remember, double AD carry composition makes itemization pretty easy for Myrwn. Just build a lot of armor. Of course, he's got early magic resistance to deal with the Rumble, but as the game goes on, that armor stacking is going to come through and is going to make things a lot harder for Fnatic's AD carries to get through the front line.
Well, it's kicked off better than you could expect, though. It's kicked off better than we came into the game in the first 10 minutes, quite silently, looking at these lane swaps. Now, we're looking at bros punching fists.
Fnatic Death Rush.
And it's what Jojo's going to run into. Vedius said it, and now you've seen it. Razork with the kill, teleport in the middle as well. Alvaro's involved, but Myrwn has to get out of there immediately. But that opens up top, guys. Oscarinin is just going to get a free turret here, and with how low bot is as well, you might get a double turret.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, you won't be able to get the top side turret, unfortunately, but still, you've got a ton of opportunity now for Oscarinin to pick up some free CS, not have to worry about trying to go against Myrwn with that kind of Rucker in order to complete it. But Fnatic now continue to chase forward. Myrwn has support, and Elyoya is on the way.
Razork was trying to fear the ultimate Shattering Strike crash away. Yet it's still down. Elyoya, you're going to run into Razork, okay? Voltbreaker into the tree, but he's not going to leave. Instead, he brings Supa in as well. Voltbreaker gives a bit of a shield. Ulti out. Razork, the criminal, he's away with it. Bandits run. As KOI trying to get into this choke, but I don't think it's too good. Fnatic burning the Midnight Oil as Alvaro flashes away, somehow makes it away. But Upset joined in just to get the kill. He's going to be all out, but look at KOI. They don't want to join back in, but Myrwn will do it himself. He flips, he smacks, and yes, Myrwn can. While you look at the top lane, Oscarinin and Jojo are once again fighting now, but this time, Jojo has it.
And KOI just scrapped back. That is 4 kills across the map as Jojo gets a solo in the top side and Myrwn carries through the bot. What looked like a winning play for Fnatic ends in disaster.
It's the overstay from Fnatic that ends up killing them. They try to get more on towards Myrwn. Now, they will end up getting the tower, but you'll see it in the replay in just a second. It's the position that they end up putting themselves in as they escape that caused them issues. Razork ends up moving up towards that top side, not realizing that Elyoya was on the way. But you can't really move into a position here because Elyoya, they know that ultimate's going to be up very, very soon. So that if they play in towards River, they all get caught. Humanoid is basically doing nothing here, and essentially now is trying to save Razork or cost Mikyx's life. They decide to go back in and trade 1-for-1, but as Upset goes in to finish Alvaro, he now puts himself in a terrible position. And keep your eyes on Razork, so close to actually getting the knockback on towards Myrwn, which might have allowed for an arcane shift over the wall, but just not quite enough there. And it's just Fnatic scrambling as they stay that bit too long on the play.
Myrwn versus Upset. Myrwn versus Upset. It keeps building, and Myrwn now has 5 kills with an Iceborne Gauntlet second. Not only is this guy a fridge, he also produces ice. Like, how good is that, man? You get 2 for 1.
And the rest of KOI decided to join in the all chat. We've got Myrwn saying, not gonna lie, you guys are kind of... And then the word was starred out.
That is a swear word.
I don't know. So,
let's use the word trash.
The confidence is building.
There's only 4 stars.
The confidence is definitely building in KOI, and they're trying to get into their heads of Fnatic. The gold is dead even. The dragon is alive, and so is the Herald, but Fnatic already starting this objective off. Looks like it's going to be a crossman.
Well, it would be a big objective for Fnatic at the very least. They already set up 2 dragons, so it is nice that KOI can stop the stacking here, but when you think about the only turret of an outer that's actually mid, as Oscarinin and I have to pause, Myrwn is looking for a kill, and this is a 2-item Kai'Sa. I guarantee you he wins this, ladies and gentlemen. Rock and roll! Myrwn, an auto, he might actually die! No, it's Kai'Sa. Humanoid fixes that, though, and it is a shutdown to a carry this time of Fnatic.
I mean, Myrwn is just starting to run away with the side lanes, and crucially, Jojo is going to continue to scale. Remember, that's very crucial. He's
on a ward. He's Vault Breaking, and Alvaro might just be caught out here. He pops the ulti nice and early, but again, Upset is a 2-item carry himself, so kill goes over. Upset with number 4. And Fnatic is still biting back.
And they can keep the pressure up. They have the Herald available on Razork if they want to drop that in the mid lane. Jojo has only just now gone back to base. He has to go and deal with the bot wave, which means the 3 members of KOI staying mid.
But the ult comes through from the Maokai. They want to try and keep him locked up. Will end up getting it. I think the tower should fall if Upset can get into range.
But Elyoya's got Leandri's first. That guy's not tanky at all. He twisted, advances in, but he's just dead in an instant. There's no tank stats there outside of the Tabis, and Fnatic open turret with him as well.
Yeah, it's just Movistar KOI getting pulled around the map off the back of the kill on towards Alvaro. They just don't really know where they're supposed to defend, and in that position, it kind of all goes disastrously. So Fnatic fighting back once more. This game is so back and forth.
What we know from having spoken to Mickey and Grabs on Euphoria is that Upset is a crucial part of the voice of Fnatic. He is a strong leader and he dictates a lot of the decisions that the team makes, and his performance on the day is crucial to the success of Fnatic. I think we can safely say that Upset is having a pretty good day so far in game one.
Feels like we've said that a lot this week. I mean, I do feel like, again, this duo has been a lot of fun to watch, whether it's been the highs or the lows, as Mickey's unable to stop the back there. Oh, voracious Atacant, it's not 15.4. Remember, we are still in 15.3, so it's your usual same old here as it spawns in top. And Mickey just gets some vision down while facing off with Myrwn when he wants to make sure that he doesn't continue that exchange any longer.
Yeah, going to look for the reset, and then when you can establish that vision a little bit deeper, maybe they'll feel a bit more comfortable pushing in this mid and top side to fall back on towards Atacant. But just a nice job kind of cheating in on towards that top side to get a little bit of vision in. But again, I think it's going to be push out waves and then try and get this deep vision into the side of Movistar KOI if you're Fnatic. Or just face check.
Well, this option 2 works just as nicely. The Hex Gates make it even easier as Supa was spotted very low on a ward, or at least half HP. Fnatic are just crossing the map right now. Everything pushed past the river. Their control knows no bounds. They're still 2k gold ahead.
Yeah, that felt very dangerous though, because you had like both Alvaro and Jojopyun on that bottom side. You'd upset, or sorry, not upset. Supa could always join in a minute's notice, but Alvaro
into fog of war he goes. He's crashed down, and Humanoid's here. Ulti's popped out. Not that there's any objectives up outside the Atacant, but still a valuable cooldown.
Especially if you're looking at trying to go for this bot side tower. So I think it's going to be Upset pushing in mid as the rest of Fnatic try to collapse on the bottom side. They're just trying to control the bot side jungle of Movistar KOI, but at least with Elyoya's ultimate, they can definitely fight back and can face check with these saplings as well.
He's still looking for what he can in the outskirts. I mean, he's just clearing away vision as best he can. That river dark, apart from that one ward on the left side of the screen. Thank you, observers. Just showing again that it's limited information for KOI here. As Fnatic have just been building up, you guys have been talking about it for a bit, building up for this side turret. It's finally going to drop down because KOI are all top, looking to see what they can fish.
And Fnatic slowly but surely. Ooh, the objective going to be started off, and Fnatic is very far away. Upset, recalling on the bot side of the map. TP, I think, is still unavailable for Humanoid. I think this is an uncontested Atacant.
Razork's so far away.
It's the Hex though. Razork can get in.
You're right, but Nature's Ground zones him out, and Alvaro just bops him, so free Atacant. While they position for bot, it's Fnatic's trade in the end that is gold for the Atacant given over.
It's a nice cross map from KOI, recognizing that they can't do much on the bot side of the map. Instead, they choose to invest in the top side. At the very least, it gives them a much better fighting chance for the next dragon. Of course, they were able to steal away the third one, and they can deny that soul point from Fnatic in a minute's time.
And that's where I'm wondering what Fnatic's game plan is now. Do they want to try and immediately just fight at this next dragon? Or do they say, hey, we're going to take that same leaf out of your book and just go for that cross map? You can push in mid as MKOI start to set up on towards the dragon, then lean over towards that top half of the map. With 30 seconds until that, it looks like, though, Fnatic trying to establish vision and actually set up for that fight.
You know, at 23 minutes, I see Fnatic ahead. I do have issues with that, because it's not like when Fnatic find early gold leads, it kind of follows through, you know? We talked a lot about this in the coming week, didn't we? Who wants to start with the past 20-minute bit?
I mean, so far, this has been a marked improvement from what we saw. But it's safe to say that even in this game, we've seen Fnatic overstate in fights, and their setup and execution on fights was a big point of concern after their series against BDS.
Oh, yeah.
KOI, though, look at how they're just forcing Fnatic to walk back. This is the strength of Maokai and Kai'Sa. The poke damage coming through from Oscar and Humanoid, and they've just bullied Fnatic out of the river, and now it's theirs. It's a KOI to start off the dragon.
All the information's right there in front of them. True Shot Barrage misses, which is good, but again, Hextech Drake chains its lightning. Alvaro pops the ulti out again, the equalizer in front. Alvaro has to flash in, but he's going to die with the Atacant buff. Supa channeling down Razork while the rest of the fight goes on, and Jojo finds some good marks, but Humanoid has to get out because Myrwn's on his face. The flip outside doesn't work out, but Razork is down. Supercharged him. Humanoid still getting chased. Kai'Sa, 1,000,001 dashes. Did it way before Ambessa, as Upset might get a kill there, but 4 of Fnatic died to that Atacant Dragon.
You can see how hard it is for Fnatic to re-enter once the objective has started. Things like the Maokai ultimate, the fact that Alistar just committed to the engage. It may have seemed weird at the start, but remember he had the Atacant buff as well, so they could play this heavy committal style. They could force the fight, and not only did they get the dragon, they get the bot tower as well.
But I think it was also lack of commitment, right? Razork could have just ulted for Supa here. You immediately have the Ezreal ult and the Rumble ult to follow up, but they don't pull the trigger, which then gives Movistar KOI that moment to actually look for the play. Mikyx tries to look for the re-engage, but Jojopyun buffers the ultimate, which gives him access to Humanoid alongside Myrwn, so he finishes him off. And Upset is doing his damnedest here, but you can see that there's just not enough in the tank, especially as those resets start to come through. So it's Dragon to Movistar KOI and the fight thanks to the Atacant buff as well.
Also, a couple of turrets for KOI. Bot you just saw go down. Min is about to follow suit as well. With these minions running in, Upset might be able to defend for now, but it's a couple of chips away from dropping too. Baron's also up. And we just talked about Fnatic's mid-game. I love how after the graphic, we just see Fnatic lose 4 members. And now, questioning contention for the Baron spawn.
I think Razork continues to demonstrate how he can be very smart about being in the right place at the right time. He's a large part of why Fnatic were able to secure a lot of these early objectives. And I like the idea of the flank, but we're seeing how difficult this double AD carry composition is to execute when they kind of want to play that front-to-back style. Meanwhile, you've got Razork wanting to try and dive in with Mikyx while the Rumble ultimate layers on top of them. Meanwhile, KOI's composition, they find a target and they commit.
Oh, Mikyx, though, might be the target found. Instead, Razork is going to pop the ulti, but onto Jojo. He just goes back a lot there in the engage as Alvaro starts soaking up damage. And for KOI, they're looking for Myrwn's position. Right now, damage has been done. Alvaro needs to heal up.
Movistar KOI just want to buy time. The reset for Jojopyun plus the TP, but Fnatic want none of this.
Razork in with a Vault Breaker and a cease to desist still being held, or rather, that's on cooldown. Instead, it's just a Q and back away. KOI want to start this Baron, you can see, but Fnatic just don't want to let them.
I mean, the ultimate from Alvaro has been used. There's still everything else on the side of KOI, and they're going to start this one off. Upset, he's going to cancel his base.
His poke feels like everything as well. Alvaro has no ulti, so he's going to be squishy here. Everyone watching at home, look at the Baron health bar at 5k with the Nature's Grab. It's going to be a turn instead. The flip back and again, and Jojo landing his ulti today. Myrwn disintegrates. Mikyx pops into his ult, runs into the team. He might die, but he's done his job. As Supa starts running the front to back again. Fnatic cannot withstand.
The core damage dealer of Fnatic was ripped out of that fight by Movistar KOI. Upset falls. KOI win the fight, and it's going to be the Baron to boot as well.
The turn from KOI is just so strong. We've seen it back to back now, Mikyx. Hit W from the Kai'Sa? No, Supa's going to choose to back. But what a turn. The use of the Maokai ultimate, the target focus was fantastic.
Look at Myrwn though. This is fantastic play from him. Buffers the W right as Mikyx is looking for that flash ult engage. Here, catches him right as Mikyx goes for the engage. Then you get the Maokai follow-up. And because Upset is expecting this big wombo combo in the middle of the pit, he's funneled himself into that tight corridor, which sets up perfectly then for the Movistar KOI re-engage to pick him off. And there's just not enough left in the tank behind the scenes afterwards.
I really like what KOI's composition does and the way in which they're executing it. Really patient. And again, it comes back to what we were talking about in draft, how difficult it can be for Fnatic to approach these neutral objectives. KOI, for the first time in this game, have a healthy gold lead. It's not insurmountable because a lot of it is sitting on the Cassante. But as the game continues, like, it feels like the gold difference doesn't really matter because that wall that is Myrwn, Fnatic have yet to get past.
And that's, again, Fnatic had that early lead. They had the opportunity to try and play through it, but just a couple of missteps here and there, and it's Movistar KOI now to fall back onto those great team fights, the clean execution on these front-to-back style fights. And now Fnatic under threat on this topside turret.
And you can see, even though Upset had the early lead, now because of all these fights, thanks to Myrwn, Supa is benefiting. 3-item Kai'Sa. And even though it's a 1,200 gold lead over to Upset, Supa has been claiming a lot of the kill bounties, a lot of the rewards. Is getting to do quite a lot as well. Jojo steps up to this inner turret just to pop it for a little bit as KOI continue their saga here with the Baron in tow.
And with this position, it just becomes so difficult for Fnatic to execute on what their comp wants to do. It's that backline assassination with the Rumble ult, with the Ezreal ult, with Vi leading the charge, but how do you do it here?
Nature's Grasp so good at pushing teams off the turrets. Fnatic safer now with the equalizer down, but the turret is just gone. Myrwn gets a flip yet again, but no pushback. He withstands the damage so easily as Mikyx stuns him up, but again, they need more than that. Vault Breaker, Myrwn won't sustain if he runs into everyone, and now Jojo's ulting thin air. A double shut down. The fish learned how to swim and then just sunk.
KOI overstepped their boundaries. That was way too aggressive. I feel like that Myrwn was playing with way too much confidence. He was obviously very tanky there, but the moment that 4-5 members of Fnatic decided to lock him down, I mean, yeah, it just goes to show that Fnatic, when they're given the opportunity to open up, they can tear you apart.
Especially when Jojo and Elyoya couldn't access the fight because they'd gone split with the jungle wall, and Humanoid was just sitting there acting like a bouncer. So Fnatic now get their opportunity to get the dragon, but look at where they're positioned, right? You've got this, where they walk back up into this position, Humanoid is just protecting them here, and it means you can never actually access back in, and it just ends up so messy. See the exit here? Where now Myrwn is just completely separated. Jojopyun and Elyoya can do nothing because they have to walk through Humanoid, and it's a 4v3 on the top side essentially.
Nice ultimate there from Razork as well, but it's easy to forget. Cyrilda's Grudge finished for upset, along with the Lord's Dominic Regard done for Humanoid. That crucial itemization to shred through these tanks is online.
Yeah.
And so Myrwn has to be a little bit more respectful. Still though, KOI hold on to the leads. Sole point though for Fnatic.
It's still really anyone's game after that, isn't it? I mean, Gold's been juggling. As Vedius said before, Gold doesn't really feel like it matters at this point. It's just up to this fight. We've been talking about KOI's ease of execution in some of these team fights as well. Fnatic do have Soul, but there's nothing to juggle. When we talk about Soul in the past, when there was no Atacant, it was always like, oh, the timing links up with Baron here. It's a minute and a half desynced, even almost 2 minutes here. So Fnatic can't go from one to the other.
The thing is, though, they Movistar KOI invested a huge amount of pressure onto this bottom side to establish vision, which means that now Myrwn has to collect that top wave. So there's a chance here for Fnatic, if they want, to look for a play. And Elyoya is very deep into this jungle. That could be the point and click from Razork that they're looking for. They're going for the play, but I don't think they're quick enough thanks to the slows.
Supa's also in the way, it seems. It looks like Alvaro was quick running. Didn't have full information as to where the rest of KOI members were, especially with Jojo already pushing out bot. 3 minutes till Dragon, 1:45 till Baron.
Fnatic overstacking on the bot side of the map as Dagda said they're looking for the fight.
Again, thinking about it, Razork is just going to pop the ulti. That's the engine of KOI picked up and burnt alive. Upset finds the first kill onto the jungler as Jojo goes over the wall. He finds an ulti onto Mikyx, but it's not enough. Supa runs in into melee range and Mikyx thinks, can I get an engage? Alvaro poked out, Upset going forward. You can't call him a KDA player when he wants them all to die. Fnatic run through the choke. Myrwn thinks otherwise. He got shredded before and will not make the same mistake.
It is a nice pickup from Fnatic to push back Movistar KOI, but again, you highlighted there because there's nothing on the map ready for them to take right now. It will be a nice little bit of gold into the back pocket, but nothing more.
Crucially, the TP was used by Myrwn, and that's going to be very important with Fnatic having both of theirs available. The counter argument is both Humanoid and Razork lost their flashes. Jojo, the threat of him coming in from over the wall was enough to force them from burning those summoners. So there are, I say even trades. Myrwn's going to be forced to group, which does give Fnatic some side lane opportunities, but if nothing else, because we've been seeing Fnatic over group, maybe it just takes away those side lane opportunities, giving Fnatic more options to find that 5v5.
Especially now as you got 3 items completed there for Oscarinin on the reset, and you're working towards nearly full items on towards upset, so he's going to be the main carry again to try and set this up.
But look, it was Fnatic that initially had control of the route, and look at how easily they just get walked out. This is the value of Kai'Sa in pro play, just his ability to walk at you menacingly. We've talked it so many times, but you have to respect it, and so you back away, and just like that, KOI have gained control of the route.
The problem with Oscarinin grouping as regularly as he is that you don't create pressure to separate the Kai'Sa. Now Elyoya in a fantastic spot for a potential Maokai ultimates.
Hasn't been spotted out at all. All it takes is a Nature's Grasp. His first Maokai we see in competitive, and I don't think it'll be the last, at least in this split. Nature's Grasp rounds up Razork immediately. The equalizer down is good. It's a mosh pit. It's a big pit. It's a magnetic pit because Mikyx brought them all together. Oscarinin to burn them down. Myrwn, the star player, kept them in line while the rest of the team dove to die. A shutdown in the end, and KOI have cleaned all but 4.
The engage from KOI is just too strong. The confidence was returning to Fnatic, but you can just see the comp difference in action. Mikyx, he's going to be able to get away with his life, but with 4 dead, KOI set their sights on the inhibitor towers.
Bigger health bar, definitely helping out Movistar KOI in this one, and now they're just going to run down this mid lane. Timers are not in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, they're really not. 20 seconds for Razork. I mean, they're pushing to end here. Low health bar for Myrwn as well. 15 seconds is the count on jungler. Upsetting 15 now from there as well. Mikyx at the buy time. He crashes down, but the minion wave is still there. Healthily enough. He's getting some good damage down, and Myrwn does die thanks to the turret. Mikyx still trying to play the waiting game. A root back, both turrets gone, and Jojo's on the Nexus. Razork ulti's up, but it's going to be in Jojo's trying to get around. He's still autoing down, but now for the fight, he's dead. Half health on the Nexus. KOI almost had it.
Mikyx somehow gets the kill out to Myrwn, and that might just said, wait, Razork, he missed him. Get the push. No, he's the one.
But the Baron is up, and the best thing about all of this is in the all chat they wrote LOL chokers, and after they lost, Mickey hits them back with the LOL, and now Fnatic gets the Baron.
But this is the thing, it's Baron going to be taken, but you're still got multiple death timers on towards Movistar KOI. Its soul is up and available. Movistar KOI are rushing towards it, but they can't take it. It's supporting the jungle and the dream, and it's turning into a nightmare for Movistar KOI.
Who's joking who? Vedius, what is that? UPS, the package service. Ups. I thought delivery service.
But it's on the silver platter, it feels like right now for Fnatic, because Baron, soul picked up. It's still difficult to teamfight against Movistar KOI, but it's certainly looking up now for Fnatic.
So we look back at this this fight, I should say. An initial engage comes onto Razork, and it looks like some decent damage coming down onto KOI. Fnatic tried to retreat, but then they funnel into this point, and the CC comes through, the double knockup from Alvaro, and the follow-up onto the backline. Jojo and Supa set their sights onto Upset, and there's nothing he can do in the 2 versus 1. The moment that he's isolated, KOI just pick apart Fnatic.
And it was Elyoya's ultimate that dictated that fight. It funneled Fnatic backwards because they had to escape those vines, and it just set them up perfectly then for that follow-up from the rest of
Jojo's
Movistar
had a
KOI.
bit of criticism, but I will say today he is landing some big ults. He is doing quite a bit on the
I will say it is easier to do when everyone is locked down.
I agree. And we talked about the the lack thereof of a front line for Fnatic as well. Every member he hits, even if it's only one, they get absolutely shredded like Upset was in that last fight.
I do think overall he is having a great game. I think that the comp has a very straightforward plan in terms of how it wants to execute.
True.
And his patience is crucial. And I think that we've seen him execute along with Supa, that they're diving and picking a target, whether it be Humanoid or Upset, very consistently. The question is with a Soul and a Baron, is that enough to overcome the compositional advantage that KOI consistently find in these fights?
Yeah, and I think a huge amount of that is, hey, can we actually get pressure in the side lane? And for Fnatic, the answer is no. Like, you can see this Rainbow Baron power play has been sitting on kind of 1,300, 1,400 for a while. They haven't really been able to get much more off of it. And now they're actually still on the retreat here, as that is going to fade in a minute's time. They're not getting the vision control they need. They're not getting the waves pushed out. So it has to be another monumental team fight as Mickey goes.
Full engage. It's good. It's on to Myrwn, and again, he's not as tanky as he first thought. Oscarinin takes in Jojo. 4 versus 5, and Jojo goes all in, but he also is taken down an extra peg. 3 versus 5, 55-second death timers.
He used the E, which meant that there was no place left for him to go back to other than the waiting arms of Fnatic. Fnatic now with a member's advantage. No. They set their sights on the Nexus.
They tried desperately to carry this game through Myrwn, through their team comp, but Fnatic, they just find their pick and they're going to end.
And Jojo's pinging their flashes right now as 3 versus 5 never looks so alive.
There's the combo!
KOI is there, and then suddenly they're not. They were halfway through the Nexus. Then Fnatic bounce back just like they always do.
The all chat is rampant as Fnatic punish the overstep. A greedy attempt to end from KOI resulted in Fnatic turning game 1 around.
I am shocked.
That was ridiculous.
That is Fnatic could come out on top of that one, but yeah, just some of these team fights coming out great for them.
It feels like BDS versus Fnatic in game 1. It was just heightened a little bit here in our top 4 match. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a short break. When we return, let's get more of that, please.
He doesn't like that. Look at him, he's a good boy, but he don't like that.
Maybe we could play some A rounds or something like that. I mean, this is map, right? New towers, new objectives.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Red Bull gives you wings.